Hello, I'm Bood and welcome to the channel. As always, thanks for joining me. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, get involved in the comments, subscribe if you're new and hit that bell and you'll never miss anything I do like this. The English Football League, the EFL and the Premier League flipped upside down. I was just on the editor the other day doing something else and I just thought, how easy would that be? Could be fun, random as anything. Someone's probably made this in the past. Very hard to be original in Football Manager YouTube. I don't watch any other YouTubers who make Football Manager, so I wouldn't know, and genuinely I don't care. This is my take on it. So I've flipped everything. I'm going to describe how I've done it and we'll jump forward 10 years and we'll check it out. So honestly, thanks for joining me. While you're here, if you're new, make sure you go and check out my other content. I've got a series at the minute with Kers and Ashton starting in the Vanarama North, which I absolutely adore. It should be about 5 episodes out at the time of filming this, with episode 6, season 6 coming soon, where you will have a chance to win, if you haven't got it already, a copy of FM24. But for now, let's get into this. So here we are now with the brand new Sky Bet League 2. So one thing that's happened, because I've basically just flipped all the teams, is there's a little sweet spot in the middle. There's a couple of teams who, because of their ranking, haven't changed division. Everyone else it's just like span around basically. And also the Premier League has 20 teams and all the other divisions have 24 teams. So I've just worked backwards really. So I've had to play around with it. So it's a bit more mixed than just a standard flip, because it's impossible to do that. So here we are with the Sky Bet League 2 with all those Premier League teams. But to flesh it out, I then picked the 4 best teams from the Championship, which according to the editor, and I've used the editor's ranking system, was Leicester, Leeds, Southampton and Watford. So there you go. That is the brand new Sky Bet League 2. And what I'm interested to see over these 10 years is how many of these teams will just rise through, and I expect a lot of them will. But will any get left behind? Any team that would have stayed in the Premier League, are they going to crumble? Bad management, bad finances, players leave and they get stuck down here. Can't wait to find out. Here we are now with the new look Sky Bet League 1, which again has 24 teams. 20 of those teams have come from the Championship, but there's 4 teams here that were just in that sweet spot in the middle. So it's kind of rotated around them. I think it's Derby, Reading, Barnsley and Bolton. They're going to stay here, but the league obviously has got a little bit tougher. Here we are now with a new look Sky Bet Championship, which again has 24 teams. Again, I've just flipped it using the ranking system. It's got 20 teams in it from the Sky Bet League 1. So they've all gone up a division. And then obviously I've had to flesh it out with another 4 teams, which was Wrexham, MK Dons, Notts County and Gillingham. Moving on now to our brand new Premier League. 20 teams, the 20 lowest ranked teams on the editor that were in Sky Bet League 2. So it's basically, honestly, just gone with a couple of teams stuck in the middle. Now, just like I'm interested to see how quickly them big clubs can rise and who will and who may fall, I'm also interested to see if any of these teams can take advantage of this, especially over the first few years while they're in the Premier League, getting Premier League money and all that attention. Will they be able to grow their clubs and stay here? Can anyone stay in this division and become a team, a proper Premier League team, before them teams come up? Because eventually, you know, a lot of big clubs are going to rise through them leagues. They're going to, and start taking it back over. So I am hoping we get some people left over, some teams left over. I think it'll be brilliant. Many of you may know, you may not know, but Stockport County is like my second team. I'm a Manchester United fan, but Stockport were great to me when I started on YouTube. I've done a couple of series with Stockport, a few other things with Stockport. And they're actually favourites to win the Prem. So hopefully they do win the Prem, and I'm hoping they do well. But I'm also hoping they can do well because they're going to be in the Champions League, not this first season, but next year and the year after. Some of these clubs, and even some of the other clubs that are now in the Championship, are going to get promoted. They're going to have chances of playing European football. And I just hope they grab it and do well with it. Or they might all just fall down the leagues and the big teams might just all take it back over and it might just go back to normal. But it's Football Manager, and that's why I like doing stuff like this. You don't know until you try. Now, some may say they are exactly where they're supposed to be. They may end up there with 115 charges on them, but of course they are the highest rep team in England on the game. They're probably the richest team in England on the game, and I fully expect them to fly. But if there's one team, personally, I like to see stay down there, it's these. So we're just going to get stuck right into it and jump forward 10 years, and here we are now on the 13th of July 2015. 33 with a Sky Bet League 2. And there's a lot of familiar names there in Sky Bet League 2. And at first glance, I spotted a Premier League team. Bournemouth. Bournemouth are in that league. Wow. I think they may be it. Sheffield Wednesday are here. Ouch. But Bournemouth, have they stayed here? I mean, they're not the biggest club, and there's clubs down there like Stockport counties with stadiums the same size. But I am surprised. I mean, they've got themselves all the way back up to the Championship and then crashed and burned again. So it really affected Bournemouth. Sorry if you're a Bournemouth fan. But they didn't recover, did they? Onto the Sky Bet League 1. I can see Brentford and Burnley, of course, are Premier League teams. They're there. Go down, I think that might be it. From like just one quick glance, maybe. I mean, there's a couple of Championship teams down here. But yeah, let's have a quick look what happened to them. So Brentford haven't really recovered either. They went up to League 1 and they've stayed there ever since. And my very good friend Greeno will love this because he's a Blackburn fan. But they stayed down there for ages in League 2 and they've only just recently got promoted. So it did affect some teams, even though they would have had good players and a bit of money. They've not been able to recover. Damaged them. Onto the Championship, and we've got Aston Villa, Wowzers, Palace. They're in the Championship. Everton, Fulham. So some of them, they've recovered a bit. I wonder if they've had stints back in the Premier League. And I just want to check on the Prem teams for now. So Villa went up into League 1 and they've been in the Championship now for the last few years. Never got back to the Prem. Palace, though, climbed their way up steadily. Got it back into the Prem. Relegated again. I do love a bit of Everton, I can't lie, but they've never recovered, never got back to the Prem. Fulham are the same, spent quite a while in League 1, but then Championship now. So yeah, wow. I mean, I didn't expect them all to go straight back up, but I thought they would. And the other team's Forest, and again, they've not made it back to the Premier League. So only one of them teams, I think, got back up and went straight back down. They're stuck in the Championship. But let's look at the Premier League, and it is very, very different, and there's some cool teams here. And I want to look at them and see how they've got here. Got Charlton, Crewe, Lincoln, Mansfield, Morecambe, Oxford United, Salford, Stockport County are still there. Sunderland, back where they should be really. Tranmere, West Brom. Wow. We need to have a look, don't we? I think we go through all the teams in the Prem quickly and look at their graph. So we'll start with Arsenal, and they flew. Promoted straight away, promoted. As soon as they got back in the Premier League, if you're an Arsenal fan, you'll love this. They've won a couple of titles, haven't they? Been right back to the top. On to Charlton next, obviously starting in the Prem. Stayed in the Prem, had a decline, got relegated, and then had a nice little rise. On to Chelsea. It took them a season, but they finally got promoted, and once they did, they flew and they're back in the Premier style. What about Crewe Alexandra? Crewe, well, Premier League life was mid-table and good. Then they got relegated, spent a while back in the Championship, but have recently got promoted. Look at Lincoln City. That's cool because they're in the Championship. Lincoln started in the Championship, obviously didn't start there properly, but they're in the Championship. They took their advantage of it, got promoted, won the Prem. Oh, that's brilliant. And they would have Champions League football, finished second. I mean, they're still there. They're not great now, but they're still there. Liverpool, again, got promoted that first time and flew up the leagues. I think they might have picked themselves up a couple of titles and they're back to where they belong. What about City? Oh, first Man City. Obviously, they've got the money. They've still got Pep Guardiola. They've still got players as well. So if they won the league, flew up the league, easy peasy, got a title or two and are back where they sort of belong. Some might argue that. What about my team? Well, no titles, Premier League titles. Finished 7th that first year. Ouch. But then won it and came second. And top 14. I'll take that. Finished 4th again. Back at the top anyway. What about Mansfield? Mansfield. Fair bloody play. Mansfield Town. Started life in the Premier League. And it looks like a smile. And they should be smiling. Because they're still there and they've just stayed there. Morecambe. Bloody hell. So had a bit of Premier League fun. Got relegated. Promoted. They're a yo-yo team, but from the Championship to the Prem, it's better than where they are in real life. On to Newcastle United, and I think they won the playoffs. Spent a bit of time in League 1, finally got themselves back out of it and are back fighting at the top of the Premier League. Oxford put them in the Championship. They get themselves promoted. Runner-up in the Premier League. And, you know, they've been all right. Can't complain with that if you're Oxford United. On to Salford City, obviously owned by the class of 92. 3 steady years, ended up getting relegated, spent quite a while working their way back into the Prem where they are now. I'm on the county, Stockport County. Look at that. I'll take that one. The first Prem of the flip. That's awesome. And then slowly got crap, got relegated. Obviously better teams coming into the league and they're not capitalised. Better time in Championship, but they've got themselves back in it. Look at that, finishing 8th. What about Sunderland? Massive club, Sunderland. Should be in the Prem, in my opinion. If you're a Geordie, you might not agree with that. But get themselves promoted. We'll look at all the winners in a bit, but fair play Sunderland. I don't think Newcastle have they? Check that out. Been a bit shit since, but they're still in the Prem. On to Spurs. League 2. Finishing 4th. Finished 4th again, but I'm guessing they won the playoffs. Blew up, and again, doing really well. And Tranmere Rovers. I mean, are they based in Birkenhead? I think they are. If I'm wrong, let me know. I know it's Liverpool way. I always remember John Aldridge. I know he played for Liverpool. I'm pretty sure he played for Tranmere and was the manager. I'm pretty sure I'm right on that one. I'm going back a few years. But they've just stayed in the Prem. Even had a 4th finish. And West Brom, fair play to them. Couple of promotions. Got into the Premier League, have stayed here. But they're a good sized club, West Brom. I do like their stadium. I don't know what it is about it, but I like it. What about West Ham? Well, it's took them a little while to get back in the Premier League. Couple of years in League 2, straight out of League 1. Couple of years in the Championship, and then a nice climb, really. Antonio Conte is the manager now. Just finished 10th in the Prem. And last but not least, Wolves, who are now in the Premier League, finally returning after 10 years. It's taken them 10 years, quite a few years in League 2, worked their way out of League 1, steady in the Championship, fighting at the top by the looks of it, until they finally got back to the Premier League. So of course some teams did take advantage of the Premier League being free of all the big clubs. Stockport winning one, Lincoln, Sunderland. I mean, look at the runners up in 3rd places. That'd be fun. And then obviously they all came back. Arsenal won 3, City got 2, Liverpool got 2. Man United have managed a 3rd place, but it's the usual, boys. Didn't take them too long to get back. Quick look at the Championship and you can see Oxford obviously getting through it, and you can see all these big teams obviously working their way back up slowly but surely. Onto Sky Bet League 1, and it is mad. These names are flipping. It's hard to wrap your head around it. I don't know why. It is for me. I'm not the brightest, but it is quite cool. And League 2, obviously won by City and United, Brighton, Everton, Fulham. But then, you know, a few of these teams now starting to look like teams, sort of. They should be here, but really? I mean, Coventry, Huddersfield, Cardiff, Barnsley's shouldn't really be in League 2. Derby, but they are. But of course, I've only got the football leagues running. I haven't got non-league running. I didn't actually think about that at first. I didn't want to flip all that as well. Christ, that'd be crazy. It might be fun. But I thought I'd leave it at the football league. But you got to remember, right, teams are going to get relegated in that first year into the non-league. And one of them was Sheffield United in that first season. The other, Southampton. Obviously, Sheffield United recovered. They're in League 1 now. Southampton had a stint in the non-league and our Championship club. Let's flick through it a little bit. Let's see if anyone else went down. I mean, Oldham were non-league at the start. They would have come up and gone straight back down. Sheffield Wednesday. Rich, if you're watching, I'm sorry. Luton as well. Wow, they got relegated into a non-league. Chesterfield Oldham again. Poor Oldham. Luton again. I've ruined Luton. I've ruined them. Any other bigger teams? I think that might be it, really. To be honest, all Luton are still non-league. Christ. I mean, I'm going to make this available. Why not? You might have a bit of fun with it. If you don't know how to use the editor, I'll put the first year down there, save file. I'll put the 10-year save file down there in case you want to have a look through it yourself in a bit more detail. But you might want to play it as well. There's a challenge for you. Try to make sure Luton get back up through the leagues and don't end up rotting in the Vanarama National. Now let's check in on our cups. And we'll start with the Carabao Cup, the League Cup, which Chelsea won. So these big teams are still going to win it because they're going to enter into it anyway, and they would have had them great players. But Mansfield have spoiled the party. I am loving this Mansfield thing. Staying in the Premier League and picking up a trophy. beating Arsenal in the final. And the FA Cup, they've just won the most recent FA Cup against Brighton. Lincoln have got themselves one. That's honestly awesome, because just thinking about it, I didn't necessarily think any of the smaller teams could still do it. Even though the big teams have been relegated, they still have the players. I didn't change anything else. I still think they're going to be in these competitions. They're going to win them. But it just shows you that Lincoln and Mansfield really have grown as clubs. I mean, Mansfield now playing a brand new stadium, built in 2032. They've used their Prem money, 24,000 seater capacity. Fair play. And Lincoln playing a brand new stadium, built in 2029, 34,000 capacity. The Danny Cowley Arena, who's obviously a legendary manager. Bonkers. And that's another save idea for you. Don't save Luton. Why don't you try and be Mansfield or Lincoln and replicate this? Turn them into powerhouses. Why you've got a chance. See if you can keep them in the Premier League. Could be a good challenge if you're bored. Do you know what I mean? I like throwing things out there for you to try that are different. So of course we've had some of these teams qualifying for European competitions, winning cups, getting up there in the league for the first few seasons. Could they do anything in Europe? Well, no. Aston Villa won the first, and Chelsea, Man United have got themselves a Conference League. I'll take that. Lincoln won one. Go, see what I mean? And Mansfield got to the final the next year but lost it. But that is still cool as shit, isn't it? I really wanted, that was my main thing, some of the smaller teams to grab onto this chance and not let go. About the Europa League, well, there was no English teams until Man City. Boo. Liverpool lost the final. Have we got any Mansfields? No. Any Lincolns? No. And the Champions League, Atletico Madrid won it. Barca, PSG, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid. Real Madrid won a ton. Bloody hell, Spain capitalising on the big English clubs disappearing. I mean, even when they've come back, where have they gone? Well, where's the game ranking all these clubs these days? Well, some of these teams have earned their spot now, haven't they? The likes of Lincoln and Mansfield, Tranmere up there, Stockport's up there. And I mean, it is kind of cool that Stockport have got a brand new, awesome stadium built in 2029 with a boring ass name called the Stockport Stadium. If you actually want to change that, you're into a save and you get a new stadium like that and it does its generic naming, it maybe names it after a legend you don't like, or it names it the Stockport Stadium, you can actually change that quite easily. I made a video on it, so type in Bood FM, change your stadium name into YouTube. I made it a couple of years ago, but it's the same process. You can call your stadiums in any save without an editor, just by changing some things in a file. You can name it whatever you want. Now, I was just looking at this and wasn't sure I was going to show it. Obviously, Mikel Arteta, we know that he's still there. Gareth Southgate's at Lincoln. Klopp is still at Liverpool. Pep still at City. Erik ten Hag is now the Real Madrid manager. He's won all them Champions Leagues with Real Madrid, apparently. But one thing stuck out. Graham Potter, Chelsea manager. Now, it's not an old database, it's up to date. They've had a couple of managers and have re-signed Graham Potter. Now, this is the most recent team of the year, made up of Liverpool, Arsenal, and an Oxford United player. Let's have a quick look at Neil Holland. Check that out. Honestly, I think this would be a great little save for you. Just take over one of these teams. You might be a fan of one of these small teams while you're in the Premier League and hang on for dear life. What I wanted to look at was the first few Premier League team of the year. Look at that. Fair play. Or the next one, when we get boring soon, won't we? Dominated by Lincoln. They went out the blocks quick, didn't they? Lincoln. The third one, Sunderland, Lincoln. Check Lincoln out. Could you do the same with Lincoln? I'm setting you a challenge here. And then bigger teams came back. Ryan Sessegnon at Oxford United. And someone just pops up on the news that I'm absolutely loving. He may be 32. You guys who watch all my content will know I have a man crush on Lorenzo Luca. He has been brilliant for me on multiple years, on multiple games, on multiple saves. I love him to pieces. Great player. Has just signed for Lincoln. The temptation for me to have a cheeky little side save with Lincoln to keep him up here with Lorenzo Luca leading the line. It's tempting. I'm a Manchester United fan, but you have to be honest with yourself. And Manchester City are the richest team. They were, at the start of the experiment, the champions of Europe and England. They've kept their manager I just want to see how the transfers for them really works out. Can't look at everyone. Like I said, I'm going to put the save files down below of the beginning and the end. If you want to look at things in a bit more detail, just have a nosy or a play. I just want to see, because you just expected players would want to leave because they're playing at a shit level. So the first year, they didn't bring anyone in. They stuck with what they had. They did sell Julian Alvarez, is that how you say it, to Liverpool. And the next year, spent 27 million. Well, you know, they're buying players off teams around them, teams like them that have been demoted. But I want to know if they got rid of anyone big. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Haaland. So he's like, I'm not playing in this league with City. He went to PSG for mega money. But then the next year, they just got promoted, didn't they, consistently? So they've been the Championship now. They spent 222 million. Wow. So they pretty much kept everyone apart from Haaland. Really? But Oliver Skip. Why? I don't know. But yeah, it looks like they pretty much kept everyone as they flew up the leagues, didn't they? Bit of business with teams around them. Obviously, then now they would have been back to the top and spend. But they managed to keep all their players, and I assume a lot of them did. But yeah, I just imagined they'd all be really unhappy and wanted to leave, but maybe that's not the case. And I know he's won it all. But you will never ever see Pep Guardiola at that level, or winning Sky Bet League 2s, Papa Johns. Oh, you've got to laugh, man, you've got to laugh. But they're winning a lot now, aren't they, again? Bowfest. So there we go, thanks for watching. It's nothing too fancy, it was just a bit of fun. I was just playing on the editor and thought, oh, that could be quite interesting. I found it quite interesting, but like I said, I'll put the save files down below. If you want to start at the beginning and try and get a team back to the top, or keep a team at the top, I would love to hear from you if you try. Really would love to hear from you, because some great clubs are going to start out in that Premier League. Real challenges for you, and it could be a challenge, right? You have to get some money try and stay in the league that first year, then you get some money in, won't you? The club might start changing, you'll be able to build it up, you start signing some players, trying to stay there, waiting for them big teams to slowly catch you up, and then once they're there, then can you stay there and still compete? You could really push it. It's an idea, a challenge idea that I never even thought about, to be fair. But like I said, if you try it out, let me know. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up and subscribe. If you're new, come and join the family, hit that bell, and you'll never miss anything I do. And if you are watching my Curzon series, don't forget episode 6 will be out pretty soon. I'm nearly ready for it. I will be doing a little competition to give away a copy of FM24. If you've never seen the series, go and check it out. If you've never seen my channel, go and check it out. Even my old stuff, I highly recommend it. I'm not biased at all. No. Anyway, you stay happy. You stay safe. I'm Bood. Love you long time. I'll see you later. Don't go missing.